Hey guys, welcome to Crowned in Grace. Today I want to talk about my anxiety and what it is like for me and the particular things that I struggle with, and how it was that I came to find out that it was anxiety that I was dealing with. This might be a little bit hard for me, so just bear with me. The first thing is that there are certain things that I would struggle with that I've struggled with for many years, dating back to middle school. And I'm a stubborn person, so I don't like to admit that I need help, or that there is something wrong. I just figure that's just the way I am, and that's just it. But it's been recently. There's been a lot more awareness of different things with mental health, and I always thought anxiety was like panic attacks and freaking out for no reason, that kind of stuff. And that's something that I didn't struggle with. So to me, I didn't feel like I had a problem with anxiety. I didn't even know there were different types of anxiety, which I just recently learned that there are. So that's pretty cool. I've had a problem with communicating how I feel and enunciating my feelings and getting them out of my mouth. Now, I can do wonders on paper. I can write it down. I can't physically say it. I feel like there is a gag in my mouth, or like I have a ball in my throat. I just can't get them out of my mouth, due to fear of whatever it may be. It may be fear of what that person will say, fear that I'm going to look like an idiot, fear of anything. And that comes from past experiences. Anxiety is all built around, from my understanding. Now, I'm by no means a mental health expert, but just from my learning and my doing my own research and talking with my therapist, that anxiety all stems from past experiences and how we react to those experiences and how they affect us. So there's, my fear of being told my idea is stupid, or things coming out of my mouth don't make any sense, or being ridiculed for things I say come from my childhood, from growing up, from school, from people that I respected and loved. So it all stems back from how we interpret and experience things. You coming to join me, Chloe? So it can be any number of things. And for me, communication is one of my biggest issues, and people pleasing. Trying to make everyone else happy instead of worrying and putting myself first. That's something that I've never really been able to do. I've never really put myself first, and some people look at that and say, oh, that's really kind, it's really generous, it's really thoughtful. And to an extent it is, because we do need to think about others. We do need to put others before ourselves sometimes in certain situations, but I go to the point where I make myself miserable just to make other people happy, and that's not healthy, and that's not good. With communication, I already went over it a little bit. I have a really hard time expressing my thoughts and my feelings. So there would be times where my husband and I would get into a huge fight, and he would have to push and push and push until I got like really, really angry with him and actually said what I thought. And it's one of those things that was the only way that he could get how I really felt out of me. No matter how many times he would let me know that he was there and open to talk about it. It was an internal war with myself in my head. That the things that I felt were not valid. They didn't make sense, that no one would care. So it's, even though no matter how many times he would say You know, I'm here for you. I want to talk to you. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what you think. There's no judgment. It didn't matter to me internally, like my brain, it mattered. And I would fight with myself. And I recently was able to tell him that I know logically it doesn't make sense. I know it doesn't make sense. But this is what is going on in my head. This is the war that I am having. Chloe! You know better. Stay out of that. Sorry. Chloe is being a doggy and not doing what she's supposed to do. And getting into things she shouldn't be getting into in the country. Don't try to say you're sorry. So I was recently able to tell him that, and it's been really hard living and interacting with someone on a daily basis who doesn't understand anxiety. I didn't even understand it until just recently. So how can I expect someone who doesn't deal with it, who doesn't understand it, to know what I'm feeling and know what I'm going through? And that's been really hard. And at first he was kind of resistant to understanding, but as I've been going to therapy and trying to explain things to him, he's been a lot more open, which is great. More open to understanding of anxiety, and he himself is doing research and learning about it and watching things on YouTube, or doing his own research on what anxiety is and how it affects people, because it affects everyone a little bit differently. Now someone else might be dealing with panic attacks, and that's fine. And that's a different type of anxiety. That's not the type that I deal with. That doesn't mean someone else isn't dealing with that particular type of anxiety. One of the other things, a couple of other things that I really struggle with anxiety-wise, is getting things started and finishing them through to the end. So like projects or weight loss journeys or working out, anything like that. It would be a really hard time initiating. So actually getting up and going to the gym, or starting the workout plan, or starting the diet, or starting the healthy eating. And then if I am able to start it, I can't finish it. And that is, it's not due to lack of willpower, let's say, so, or lack of determination. It has all to do with anxiety still. And fear of the unknown is really big for me. I don't particularly know where this one stemmed from, but I don't like the unknown, which is why moving to Tulsa was such a big deal for me, because it terrified me, but I was really excited to do something different and step out on a limb and fully trust God. So, in with dieting and working out and trying to lose weight, there is some unknown there, because you don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know how what you're doing is going to affect your body. So there's a lot of different factors into why it's hard to finish something, or even get something started. Part of it is having the finances to be able to do it, having the finances to get a gym membership or buy the healthy food, because for whatever reason, healthy food is way more expensive than cheap food. We do have a Sprouts here, so it is really handy. It's like right around the corner, and their produce is reasonably priced, and it lasts more than Walmart does. So that is really cool that we have that right there. Sorry, I'm looking off camera. I'm expecting a couple emails. And I'm recording on my phone, so I have to have my laptop up and my phone used for camera. So I have a hard time with consistency is what one of the other things that I struggle with. So it's very hard for me to stay up on something, which is why I am really proud of what I have done with my YouTube channel. Even though I only have 8 subscribers, I don't care. It is the staying consistent, and it might be a couple of weeks or a week and a half or 2 weeks or a week between something that I post, but I'm still doing it, and trying to stay on a schedule is that. The other part of anxiety that I struggle with is it is mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausting. So I get I get fatigued very, very a lot. I get fatigued a lot, because I am so tired, or I'm not sleeping well because of my anxiety, or I'm just tired of the mental battles every day. It is it is really draining, and it's really hard to really enjoy life when you're tired all the time. Now, part of that is other health issues of the being tired and fatigued, but part of that is also the anxiety. And I've been going to see a therapist to talk about it and to learn more about it and to get ways to cope with it. So a few ways that I have found that really help me out is a fidget cube. My husband had a fidget cube that he bought a couple of years ago, and he recently found that, and that's helped me when I'm feeling anxious. I can use that to help focus, because anxiety a lot of times is unfocused energy, and that's where our brains go to try to make sense of what we're doing, or that's where the war with ourselves come from, is because it's an unfocused energy that our brains have. So having something that's easy and monotonous and simple, repetitive that I can do is really helpful for me. The other thing is stupid games. So I see that like Candy Crush, or this new one that I found has been super, super, super helpful. It's called Woody Puzzle, I think. And it's like a weird version of Tetris where you have to clear lines of little wooden blocks. And that has been incredibly helpful for me. The other is like coloring or doing something with my hands. So even as I'm talking, like I'm doing things with my hands, even though you can't really see them because they're down here. So you kind of see me moving around because I'm moving my hands down here. So part of it is like coloring is really helpful for me too. Or doing like if we need to have like a conversation, we need to talk about something, I will like be able to communicate better if I'm doing something with my hands. So like when we first started dating, we would need to have like serious conversations. I would be doing the dishes or tidying up or something, just to kind of focus my brain on letting my worry thoughts worry about doing what I'm doing, and then being able to actually focus on the conversation and on communicating. So that is a few things that help me. I will say the biggest thing that has helped me though. Oh, excuse me. The biggest thing that has helped me is staying consistent in my quiet time, and praying every day and reading my word and doing my devotions every day. Whether that be a devotional book or ones that are on the Bible app, just staying consistent with God has really helped me. So that is something that I do plan on continuing, and I have had the biggest relief from that. And it's been helpful because there's been times where we have had conversations that we need to have about something with our finances, or something about a decision that we need to make, or something that's going on. And I've been able to show that to my husband, so it's been really helpful that if I can, while coloring, if we have those conversations, then I'm able to communicate and tell him how I feel a lot easier. Hold on, sorry, so cut back to here. What was I talking about? Send. Oh yes, communication. So I've been able to show like, hey, while we're having this conversation, like afterwards, be like, hey, just so you know that this is actually something that is working, or I was able to communicate better with you while I was sitting here coloring and focusing my hands on something else. So I feel like that's been helpful, that I've been able to actually see it for myself and help my husband understand how things help and what I need to get better. So that's a really big thing. That's really cool that I've seen certain improvements myself. And in moments of anxiety, I have learned to stop and just still my heart, still my thoughts, still my brain, and just say a quick little prayer. And it really helps me get over whatever anxiety I am feeling at the time. So that so communication is really difficult for me. As a lot of people know, that there's very few times where I have openly shared my thoughts and my feelings, and it is something that makes me very emotional, and it is something that's that I've been ridiculed for and put down for in the past. So it makes it really difficult to open up and be honest about what I'm truly thinking, what I'm truly feeling. And I'm not making this video to seek special treatment or pity or anything like that. I want to make this so that people who may also be struggling with it and struggling with something, but not sure what it is, to just take a look and see and talk to someone, get some help. I want my story to be able to help someone else. Because I always felt like there was something wrong with me. I always felt like there was something wrong with me mentally, or something wrong that I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I wasn't what I wanted to be, and I wasn't able to communicate effectively with people, or stand up for myself, or anything like that. And that's something that I'm still struggling with, of course, but I didn't know what it was that was making me feel like that. And now that I know, it is an incredible relief just knowing that it has a name, and that it's not the stereotypical, this is what it is. It's not a stereotypical anxiety. A lot of people just think it's just being nervous as well. And it's not just being nervous. There's so many factors in anxiety. There's so many different No, ma'am. Shadow. No, ma'am. There's so many different faces that it can wear and that it can have. Part of my issue with communication is that I feel like I already know what the response is going to be, or that I know what that person is feeling, or their response is the same thing that I would respond in that situation. And it's not, and that is unfair of me to place my thoughts upon someone else and say, well, this is what you're thinking, this is what you're feeling, because if I were in the situation, that's what I would think and feel. And it's something that has kept me from being able to fully communicate, and that's it's really, really unhealthy, and it can get you into trouble. I know it's gotten me in situations that I don't want to be in, or situations where I've hurt someone because of something. And that's what my Facebook post was kind of about the other day, is apologizing for those things that I may have done that I didn't necessarily want to, or things that I may have said that I didn't necessarily mean, or certain relationships that I damaged out of fear, or out of anything really. And I'm not trying to use anxiety as a crutch or as something to blame, but as an explanation to why I've done some of the things that I've done, and why I've said certain things that I've said, why I've acted in certain ways. And to a lot of people it doesn't make sense, and I don't expect everyone to understand. But I do want to let people know that I have an inner dialogue every single day, all day, every day, with every single interaction that I have, about what I should say, what I shouldn't say, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. This person's gonna say this person's gonna say that, to an almost what am I trying to say? Again, this is what I struggle with, is saying things that I need to say and not knowing how to say it. The most frustrating thing that's the most frustrating thing for me, is having something in my brain but not being able to get it out of my mouth. And a lot of the times when I'm having a conversation with my husband, I'll say something that's not what I mean. That's not what I want to say. And then he'll say, well, you could have said this, or I feel like this is what you're wanting to say, or this is what you're trying to say. And I'll be like, yes, exactly. That is exactly what I'm feeling. That is exactly what I want to say. And I feel like you just went into my head, took those exact words and made them come out of your mouth. And that is unbelievably frustrating, because I can't get out of my mouth those things that I feel, those things that I'm thinking, and so it's a very difficult way to live, and I am not wanting to just get on medication and just start popping pills and everything will be fine. I'm not into that. As most of you know, Mom's a naturopath, and my main doctor back in Colorado is as well, kinesiologist Dr. Anderson, and medication is not something that I want to be on. I've watched it destroy people. I've seen what it does to certain people, and what happens when they stop taking those medications, and that's not something that I want for my life. So I'm trying to find alternative ways to deal with my therapy, or to deal with my anxiety. Excuse me. Like seeking therapy, like seeking counseling, aromatherapy, essential oils, prayer time, things that I can focus my mind on, like games and my fidget cube. And I know, and prayer time. And a lot of people are like, well, just pray it away, just pray it away, just pray it away. And to an extent, yes, you do need to pray about it. And I have prayed about it. I've laid it down at God's feet every single day. But there are certain things that you need to learn through an experience, or that He wants to use you through. And if He's using you for something, or He wants you to learn something, He's not just going to take it away. Even though that's what you really want Him to do. And that's what one of the things that I've prayed for over and over again, is for Him to just take it from me. And I feel like there is something that I do need to learn from this experience and having anxiety. And it may even be just to help someone else who's struggling with it, or doesn't even know that they're struggling with it. So I do encourage you that if you feel like there's something wrong and you don't know what it is, talk to someone. seek a mental health professional. Most employers have an employee assistance program that will pay for you to talk to someone or get started to see someone. That's how I got started. Seeing my therapist is through my employee assistance program at my job, and they pay for a certain number of sessions with my therapist, and then from there it's my responsibility to pay for them. But if I hadn't taken the initiative, then I would still be stuck back at square one. And I'm very glad that people have posted more about mental health awareness and what it truly is and what it really means and what certain things mean. Depression and anxiety, it's not the stereotypical what everyone thinks it is. So if that's all that I can do is just encourage someone to seek. Chloe, wait, knock in the chair, Bubba. To seek help and to get help for themselves, that's fine. And if it's, a relationship gets mended from this, then that's fine. That's great as well. Or anything really. I'm just here to be open and honest about what I'm struggling with and what I struggle with on a daily basis. So I don't want anyone to think that I moved out of Colorado because of my anxiety or because of relationships. That's not it. We definitely moved here because God told us to move here, even though it was absolutely terrifying for me, which is something I didn't share in the moving here video because I hadn't shared about my anxiety with anyone really. And even sharing that I'm dealing with this and what it looks like for me is very hard, because it's being vulnerable, being open, and it's not something that I'm good at. I'm not good at being open and being vulnerable anymore because people would take advantage, or they would just take and take and take and take and take. And it's something that is very hard for me. So if I ever am open and vulnerable with you, I don't want you to think like, oh, you're special, like you're whatever. It's the experience is difficult for me, but I'm trying to get better every day, and that's all that really counts. So thank you for sticking on. I know this was a long video, almost half an hour, but I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to, even though it's terrifying, I'm excited to share this with everyone. And also to see what my next chapter in life holds with dealing with anxiety and getting over it, and then hopefully being completely done with it soon, in the future, through however it needs to happen. So I'm really excited to see what the future is going to hold. Thank you all for watching, and if you like, share, comment, subscribe, it would mean the world to me to know that you guys are out there and actually watching this. And if you've made it all the way through, I really appreciate it, for you sticking around and actually listening to my thoughts. So thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video.